Good morning. Today we embark on a new devotional schedule with you, in which over the next 2 weeks, 10 days, Monday through Friday for 2 weeks, we'll be looking at this book called The Discipleship Gospel by Bill Hull and Ben Sobels. After that, we'll be spending a lot of time in this book called Learning to Live and Love Like Jesus by Brandon Cook. I know you're going to enjoy that. But this book, which we begin with on this Monday morning, helps us see that much of what is preached in the name of the gospel isn't really the gospel. In the first chapter of this book, which we're going to look at today, the authors talk about what they call the forgiveness-only gospel that doesn't ever ask people really to be followers of Jesus. He says, what we mean is that discipleship or following Jesus is an essential part of the good news Jesus preached. When you start following Jesus, you begin to prove you believe what he says. This is quite different from what is commonly taught as the gospel, that if you believe the right religious facts, you're saved, and following Jesus is just an option. So we're going to see over the course of looking at this book that this forgiveness-only gospel, as Dallas Willard says, we're saved by grace, but we're also in some ways paralyzed by it, because we're afraid to ask people to really obey Jesus and conform their lives to his. Again, that's what he calls the forgiveness-only gospel, and over the course of studying this book, I think you'll see a number of distortions of the gospel. He says that while in the developed world, which includes ourselves and some other nations, such as Canada, Western Europe, parts of Africa and Asia, Australia and New Zealand, that's the most popular form, this forgiveness-only gospel. But he says in the underdeveloped world, it's the prosperity gospel, which makes discipleship almost impossible to teach as an essential part of the good news. He says this kind of gospel turns everyone into a consumer of religious goods and services. Neither version includes discipleship as a normative part of what it means to be saved. So that's what I want you to think about today. In your understanding of the gospel, in my understanding of the gospel, do we believe that to be saved is certainly not merely intellectual assent to the truths of God, but neither is it just saying, oh, God has forgiven me by the grace of Jesus Christ, and now I can live however I want, irrespective of what God may want for me. We're going to see that distortion exposed in the course of studying this book, but that's what we wanted to start with today, to think, what is the gospel that you have embraced and that you understand? Because the true gospel means I have accepted that Jesus has come into the world, he is my Savior, and he has come to establish a kingdom of which he wants me to be part, where I live by those kingdom principles. I'm very excited for us to start on this journey together and ask that you with me would be praying that we'd all be transformed by believing the true gospel that Jesus preached when he was with us.